most welcome mural, a municipality getting help, and community kitchens in need. My name is Chris, and you're here with Bomber and I as we talk about things happening in Sage, from the edge. Hello everyone, welcome back. Or if this is your first time listening, welcome. We're so happy that you're here with us. I'm here with Bomber. How are you doing, Bomber?
Good, thanks, Chris. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, feeling good. Hey,
Excellent.
Yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks worth of news. A lot happening, not just because of the elections, just because of some exciting things in town. And if you're on any sort of social media, you've probably seen some very interesting news. And this led us really to kind of our first little bit of a discussion on the role of news and newspapers and where we get our news nowadays, because it's absolutely wild between fake news and deep fakes. Have you seen those, the videos where you got someone like a famous person looking like they're speaking and saying something, but it's really not them.
It's not them. It's so worrying, isn't it? Yeah.
So is there any fake news in the edge?
No, look, it's very difficult for us to put fake news in the edge. There is a little bit.
So you've been trying.
We've been trying. No, in the column I write, the humorous column I write, there's a lot of fake news. But aside from that, the thing with newspapers, printed newspapers, is if you print something fake or wrong or inaccurate, someone can come and bang on your door and point fingers at it, and we have had that. Over the years, once or twice, it has happened, and you can't discover it's not real later and visit everyone's house and take their newspaper back.
True. Yeah.
So once it's out there, it's out there. So you have to have a good level of integrity and. While we're talking about that, I was listening to the radio yesterday morning, SAFM, and they had a very interesting discussion on the problems that your regular media is going through.
Sure.
Because of there's a lot of fake news out there, and a lot of people putting news out there that they think people want to read that isn't real news.
Yeah.
And newspapers and other media, the radio, the television and that, are losing advertising revenue.
Yeah.
Hand over foot. Hand over fist, I think. Not hand over foot.
That's how bad it's got.
Yes, it's gone so low that it's hand over foot. So and what's happening is with a lot of the bigger papers and the bigger radio stations is they can no longer afford to employ as many journalists as they used to, because there's not enough income. Now, what this means is that the fake news sites can put out anything they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And there's nothing stopping them when the sites like the Facebook and site and all the other social media sites, when the people who run them are asked about the fake news that put on there, they say it's not us that puts it there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this is freedom of speech. We don't put the lies out there. Other people do, and there's nothing we can do about it. So there's a problem with integrity.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Twitter has done, X now, has done a pretty, an interesting at least job of this, where you'll have kind of these statements and news sort of put out, and then you'll have community notes about it. So others have kind of checked in and say, hey, have a look at this source rather, or this might not be true, but otherwise they just give kind of free reign. But it's this interesting thing of how in news it's driven. It's more towards driving traffic for advertising, just getting eyes on the page. That's the big E on the eye chart. Yeah, clickbait, 100%. Yeah. So thankfully we don't have too much of that, I would say, with the edge.
Yeah, no, because
not very clickbaity.
No. People have used the edge to wrap their bait up.
Fair enough. Yeah,
on occasion, but. I don't know about the clicking. Yeah.
So that's where you can get your bait wrap. Very good.
Absolutely.
But it's all about the community news and about the people who we care about and the businesses who we care about and things that impact us in our day-to-day lives. And it was, I just driving around town a little bit today, seeing Revive Sagefield and those ladies and those people doing an absolutely awesome job. And they've done, with the Art Society, is it? They've done a bit of a mural.
Yes, yeah, the Neisner Art Society have...
Neisner Art Society.
Neisner Art
Okay.
Society.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of good things around Neisner, Sedgefield, Buffalo Bay, Brenton. There's near the beaches. There's all these multicolored surfboards that they have painted.
Oh, that's them.
Lots of murals, and
cool.
And the story in the paper covers. It was a lady that had always wanted to have a nice painting on that wall. It's the wall as you drive into Sedgefield on the left, where we used to have those huge mounds of rubbish.
Yeah.
Fortunately, those have been taken away. Long may that last.
Yes.
And it was the old recycle centre where we were once voted the top recycling village in the country.
Oh, really?
Years ago.
Where's that plaque?
That was
Recycled.
So anyway, this lady contacted Revive Sedgefield, and Revive Sedgefield, they're brilliant gardeners, but I don't think any of them do artist painting.
Okay, at least murals, yeah.
Yeah. So they contacted the Art Society, and wow, look what they've done to that wall.
Oh, amazing,
It's really special. They've done a great job, yeah.
I love that as kind of as a bit of a symbol, a bit of an icon, really. When we're speaking about this groundswell of change, something's got to happen, and where do we look to for hope? And we're going to be speaking, a bunch about the politics of it and where it really comes in. But just that, so much of the answers just come from us as the community, as people getting together, banding together, seeing areas that need help, whether it be feeding, whether it be whatever it might be, the homeless situation or whatever it is, and finding solutions together, because it does. It doesn't feel like the council always agrees on a whole lot. That being said, they managed to agree on something really big this past week. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's the sort of the support plan offered to them or proposed to them by the provincial government. So basically, province obviously has noticed that things have been falling apart, the mountains of waste that haven't been removed, the sewage spills, the broken pipes, basically infrastructure failure. And the carte blanche story, which we spoke about last time, obviously underlined it with a thick red pen.
Oh, yeah.
So province has stepped in to assist, which is great. It's all done in what they called the in the spirit of 154. Now, 154 in the Constitution states that national government and provincial government, by legislative and other measures, must support local government. So the smaller municipalities, if they're in trouble, government has to help national government and provincial government. So provincial government has stepped in.
It's interesting because Alan Winde was saying, and trying to hand it off to the national
government.
Interesting.
So So it's. I listened to the meeting where they did their presentation. I listened online to the meeting. They put it to council, and then council debated it for a while. But it was a very interesting presentation, and it was. I am under the impression that the provincial government, being DA, stepped in and did a presentation and said, "This is how we, as your DA, provincial government, can save you." Because then there was representatives from national government. Now I'm wondering how if they were called in by perhaps the other parties in the council, because they also stepped in. COGTA, we call it, COGTA. It's the Governance and Traditional Affairs Ministry. I don't know the exact. It's got a long name. But they stepped in as well and offered their input. The very well-spoken lady who did their presentation mentioned that Neisner Council could clap hands for some things that they had done. But I don't think there was much hand clapping.
No.
So they've stepped in and they've put a proposal together of how things can be sorted. One of the things I heard on the meeting, the guy from province said, I've got money. And I think a few ears pricked up.
Yes.
But looking into the detail of it, it looks like very, very strict parameters are being put there. And there's very strict time frames around everything they've got to do, because they can't just be given money and said, okay, sort it out.
Yes,
so
yes.
They've given them advice of what they've got to do, how they must attack each problem, and very strict, I think, financial boundaries, time boundaries.
Surely, yeah. No, there's going to be a lot of control over that, I would think. Strict reporting out.
Absolutely. And so that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. One of the big things they talked about over and over again was filling posts. Now, that sounds scary.
That's come up a lot. I've also been hearing in the council meetings, we've got a lot of vacancies. This could be why things are falling apart.
Well, that's it. Yeah. So we don't want a bloated municipality.
Exactly, yeah.
But we do want vacancies filled where jobs need to be done.
Yes.
So that was a good thing, that they are insisting that the posts be filled. But there was another side to that, which we also reported on. In fact, it's in our front page story on that. As I say, it was a very pleasant presentation, and they were very supportive in everything they said. But behind the scenes, the day before the meeting, two directives, the two that I know of, were basically put on the municipal manager's desk. And they were basically saying, in no uncertain terms, sort out these problems or face prosecution.
Whoa, yeah.
And they talked in the directives. There was a couple of paragraphs that I quoted, basically saying, if you don't sort these things out, they talked out things in particular. The two things were in particular that they were speaking about were the waste, the piles of waste. Their waste transfer station is in the middle of town.
Sure.
Pretty much in the middle. It's on Waterfront Drive.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's tourist central as far as town centre goes.
So it was. I mean, there's a building that I think is full, so it's all outside the building. There's rats.
Oh yeah. Your favorite.
Yeah. There's now like an informal campsite type thing there, where people are going through the rubbish.
Yeah, which Alan Windy, he was here a week or two ago, and he noticed that as well. Yeah, and he kind of pointed that out.
So that's very unhealthy for the people living there.
Oh,
there's restaurants in the area. It's really bad. So that was the one thing that they had to sort out really quickly. And the other thing was the sewerage, the infrastructure, the sewage.
Yeah.
Or the sewerage.
Sewerage,
I think, is the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And sewage is what flows through the sewerage infrastructure.
Well, there you go.
Got it right. Anyway, one way or the other. It's all pretty nasty, noxious stuff. And they found, as we saw in the carte blanche thing, there's a lot of places where it's going into the lagoon.
Yeah. There was I think it was an SABC report on it. Also just flowing out and then just straight into the lagoon. So it is definitely happening.
And it's really bad. So that was the other thing that they have to sort out quickly, once again with very strict time frames. But the interesting thing was that if you don't sort these out within the time allocated, you will be liable for a 10 million rand, up to 10 million rand fine, and or a 10-year jail sentence, not exceeding 10 years. And it says there are, that is for individuals, but they say there is a thing where they can use the same law for municipal employees or government employees.
Oh, wow.
So it's not that they can say, well, I did it, but it was
someone else.
It was part of my job.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't part of my job.
No more passing the buck.
Absolutely.
And I wonder if they did just pass the buck along, and then were liable for this 10 million rand if they could pull what the elephant group, the big elephant in the room, the mall group. Maybe they could just pull that magic trick for we owe what 50 million
49
rand?
million, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But still buy more from us. But still,
yes, yeah. Yeah, and look, touching on that, and those of you who are listening to this podcast for the first time, the elephant in the room we were talking about is a shopping centre in Knysna that owes the municipality 49 point something million in unpaid rates and taxes and services, which they have collected from their tenants, and the same company is at the same premises is now being looked at. It's almost finalized for the municipality to move offices there and pay rent, not in lieu of what they owed.
Sounds like a bad joke.
It does sound like a bad joke, but I must say that since then, I can't call it a press release. We didn't get it. I think it's a statement that has been circulating around. It came to us via another source. Someone living in one of the properties owned by the same, living or working in one of the properties owned by the same group, they received it. So it was kind of a defense thing sent out by the group.
Okay.
Saying that the dispute of rates it's a genuine thing. They are handling it via the normal way.
Okay.
There's nothing untoward about it.
Very amicable.
Very amicable. They've said that they have been overcharged. They're following the correct channels to fight it.
Okay.
And that the rental option, which they say will save the municipality money because they're paying a lot more where they are now, is a totally separate thing. It does still stick in my throat.
I think we can be healthily skeptical and maybe not just accept it as face value. I mean, for it to get to that point, it surely didn't just pop up overnight. It wasn't like an accidental double debit order, that was quickly, when there's money like that shows up or goes missing, like people take notice. Like surely it can't just kind of pop up very quickly like that.
The bottom line is, which has been said by many a councillor in the meeting, if they owe 49 million in rates and taxes, and Knysna municipality is desperately short of money, then every effort should be made to collect it.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no,
so
let's
hope that will happen.
Yeah, and not just kind of give them more cash, at least until more has been clarified, and maybe that is happening. I mean, that would be great. It is out in the open.
Hopefully it will be,
hopefully
it'll be resolved, and us great unwashed public will be informed as to what's happened.
Absolutely. As soon as the stuff starts coming to light, discussions start happening, and we're a small enough town and a small enough municipality across Knysna, Sedgefield, even Plett before Bateau, that we can actually, zero in on these, and, it's our neighbours. And it was interesting hearing in the council meeting, I can't remember who said it, but it was speaking about potholes being kind of repaired across 2 wards and certain amounts being used for that, a Ward 4 and a Ward 5. And he's like, I live in Ward 5. Nothing's been fixed. Was it all in Ward 4? We're all neighbours.
Wow.
We're all kind of close around each other.
Accountability,
yeah. And it's going to happen. And I think that the streaming, even though the last one is a 5-hour stream of the council meeting.
Wow, yes.
Yeah. I mean, they keep streaming over lunch breaks and everything like that, but all very interesting quotes and very interesting things that happen in there. And it was during one of these, I didn't listen to it, and I don't know if we would be able to hear any of it or if they directly addressed it, but there was the DA organised march kind of to the council meeting or to the council just to...
to the council chambers.
To the council chambers, that's it. To start to dispute this and just say, hey, we're not really happy. But it did have a little bit of a feel, we were saying, of politicking, of... a blue kind of thing. And there was even a letter in the Edge around this.
Yes. A reader felt quite strongly, and he wasn't the only one.
Yeah,
we've got a few people.
Yeah, no, I heard this, and that's why I was really happy to read it, because I'm like, yes, that's exactly what the feel of it from provincial side. A lot of just using Neisner, and it's from carte blanche, and it's from all this, just using our municipality and the ills and all the things going wrong. Putting the magnifying glass over to say, you see, we should be DA. That'll solve all of this.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, and I suppose with elections coming up, the gloves are off.
Yeah.
But there is a general feeling out there that Neisner's woes are being used for political reasons.
Yeah.
I don't think that the march that happened last week, Thursday, should have been a political one. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But evidently, nor did this letter that we were very glad to include, nor did the writer of the letter, and a lot of other people felt they would like to have marched. Some did on the council. Perhaps not the council, on the mayor's offices, on the municipal manager's office, to say that they are unhappy.
Yeah.
You see, and a lot of people dropped off their staff to say, brought their staff along, gave their staff time off work to join the march, because not everyone, most people are unhappy with how the town is being run. But it doesn't mean that they want to align themselves with a political
DA,
party, with the DA, to be part of the blue
else.
wave. Because it's a free country, and people perhaps want to align themselves with another party.
Yeah, no, it could be.
So I think there is the feeling that it's been hijacked. One has to take their hats off to the DA for taking a stand,
up, doing something, absolutely,
something, and you can't complain about that. But there was a feeling that, hang on, this is our town, these are our woes. We want to be part of the solution, and we don't want it to be hijacked as a cause to not vote for the ANC or the other members of that coalition.
And it was DA organized, after all, is the thing.
They didn't hijack the march. Some say they hijacked the cause, but they certainly didn't hijack the march.
Yeah, that's it.
A couple of press releases we've had over the last year or so, since the ANC PBI EFF PA coalition have taken over, because in our council, there's more DA councillors than ANC councillors.
Oh, really? That's an interesting
but it's
stat.
just the coalitions. So the DA has only got the Kim coalition. So that coalition with the Kim. So there's two Kim councillors, Neisner Independent Movement is Kim, and the DA, and then there's ANC councillors, one less than the DA, but they've got the EFF, the PA, two PA councillors and one PBI councillor. So that's put them in the
power seat,
Power seat,
that's it. Yeah, which, I mean, it hasn't resulted. There's been a lot of infighting with that kind of thing, and I think it's something that's, And
sorry to interrupt. Yeah. So the press releases that come from the DA side often mention the fellow that writes them says, Neisner got what Neisner wanted, what Neisner voted for. Which is a little uncomfortable.
It's quite a bold statement for something that's not blatantly obvious.
Yes,
I would say, it takes a little bit explaining, I think, to get to that point. Now, is it? Sure, there's a grain of truth.
Yes, I mean,
in there, but
people vote, and that's what the result of the votes is what builds our council.
Yeah,
but. It still doesn't mean that Neisner's woes should be used to further a provincial and national election.
Yeah, and even personal power kind of gains and things like that. Much to say on that, I'm sure. But really what we can gather from that, I would say, is that, sure, our votes hold a lot of power.
Absolutely.
And a lot can change from that.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be the big hope for our town. That's not going to be the biggest change, I think. kind of just looking at all of our stories, looking at how things go, that so much just gets caught up in so many of these things. But we've got these beacons of hope. We've got Revive Sedgefield.
Absolutely.
We've got the NSRI, who we absolutely love. And then we've also got organizations like Masitandani, who are just on the ground, who are seeing the needs, and it's not passing through multiple committees before some kind of change happens. We see a problem, okay, we do it. We get together and we just do it, and we see great fruit from that. Masitandani was in the paper again this round, right?
Yes, yeah. Masitandani, the non-government organization, is the reason they were in the paper this week is there was a call put out on social media by the angel of Smutsville, Marty Roy. She does all the first aid there. She runs a soup kitchen. She does a whole lot of upliftment things. She lives there right next to Tolly's Tavern in the middle of Smutsville. Yeah. So yeah, she's an amazing lady. So what happened was her soup kitchen and all the other soup kitchens in Smutsville basically had to close their doors for a while.
Oh no.
They have had to do that. So the background to that was that a couple of years ago, the Department of Social Welfare, that's a government department, asked Masitandani to put together soup kitchens. That's in Smutsville. Sorry, not soup kitchens. They're not called soup kitchens. I must always correct myself. They're called community kitchens.
Community kitchens. They give I didn't know that. Yeah.
It's not just soup.
Not just soup. Yeah.
Soup kitchens is the traditional name.
And I suppose there are connotations with soup kitchens.
That's it.
Okay.
So they've put together, and they had to do it, some in Knysna, some in Karatra, some in Smutsville. I think there's one or two dotted around in other areas as well. So the funding for these, now the funding for the food and for a small stipend for the ladies that do the cooking and run the kitchens.
Yeah, who are working,
Working, and obviously things like transport of food to the kitchens and that sort of thing. So that came from the Department of Social Welfare. Now, at the start of the last financial year, that's last year, I think March, April, they provided half the budget for these kitchens.
Yeah.
And it was thought, and it's still hoped, that the rest would come.
Oh, okay.
The rest of the money would come. So what happened was when they were giving out 5 meals a day at each of these community kitchens, each to 100 people.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of people having meals.
Yes.
Goodness. Yeah.
And so what happened was they cut that back when they realized more money hadn't come through. They cut it back to 3 meals a week. But even with that, the rise in the cost of foods and all the other related transport costs, they eventually ran out of money. So the new financial year is starting soon, and they are hoping that and all the paperwork's in place for the municipality, not the municipalities, the government to start the funding again, to put the next year's funds in.
Yes.
But they basically ran out of food. So Marty Roy put a thing on social media saying, please, people, can people help?
Yeah.
It was great that people did. People have stepped forward. Another wonderful charity group in Sedgefield called Sedgefield Mobile Meals.
Yes, yeah.
They managed to get 10,000 rand together.
Sure.
So
that goes a long way.
That goes a long way. So they're sort of coming to the party with that. They are big supporters of Marty's Kitchen. So they're going to be managing that and helping.
Oh, fantastic!
Lots of people. A gift of the givers.
Yes, they always do fantastic work, right?
Yeah. They were very quick off the mark. I think within a day or two they were giving the food to the soup kitchen to Marty's one in particular.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
But meanwhile, behind the scenes, Masitandani is also gathering as much as they can. People are donating. We need many more donations to come through. Food stuffs, vegetables, dry food especially. Dry food like
that
rice,
can last.
Stuff that's easy, rice, pasta, that sort of thing, that a mealie meal. So that sort of stuff can be split because they still want to keep all 15 kitchens running.
Yeah, that'd be amazing if they could.
It's good that it's easy to split. It's great. And once again, like you said, it's taking people now to step in. You can't say, oh, well, government's failed.
That's
people can't eat anymore. We actually have to say, what can we do? And that's the wonderful thing.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be very telling. I mean, with the focus on Knysna, on our municipality, even just, for the whole country, really.
Absolutely.
It pops up everywhere. You're seeing a Daily Maverick all over the place. I wonder what's going to happen. What are our people going to do? What are we going to do to make this situation better and maybe set a precedent that hasn't particularly been set? Now I'm all hopeful and full of coffee. So let's go change the world.
I tell you what, there was a video circulating. Do we still call them videos? A film clip.
Go for those. A videotape,
A videotape. I don't know if it was Betamax or VHS. It was on social media. And it showed this movement in Knysna. Basically, people hitting the main street. I think it was over the weekend or maybe just before the weekend. People cleaning flower pots, people sweeping.
Oh, come on now.
People,
How good is
amazing.
that?
Across the board, I think the scouts went into the not the park. There's that thing in front of the library, is it? Or is it in front of a church?
Oh, yes,
like
the monument.
The monument, that's the word I was looking for. And they kind of scrubbed it clean.
Oh, brilliant.
A monumental movement. So that was really cool.
Awesome.
That would be, and as we've mentioned earlier, we've got Revive Sedgefield doing all those wonderful flower beds and what have you.
So many sprouts of hope, isn't it?
That's it. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I think it's going to be great. I think our people are going to rise. Bama, thanks for what you doing it. Thanks for pulling through. Thanks that we could have this chat once again.
Always wonderful to chat. Always
Brilliant.
Wonderful to chat.
Cool. Thanks so much, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.